Good afternoon. It's time for Volusia Magazine. I'm Amber Patterson. Today, we'll join reporter Michelle Coates on the Business Beat for a look at how local arts and culture organizations generate more than $3 million in local revenue. And we'll see one fine example of how it all works in Daytona Beach. And do you think it's possible for our community to experience an outbreak of vaccine-preventable disease? Well, it can happen, and health reporter Stephanie Strong will fill us all in on all we need to know in her report from the Volusia County Health Department. And finally, we'll join Community Information Director Dave Byron for some beach talk in the studio, along with his guest, Tammy Marris, Beach Patrol Captain. So we hope you'll stick around for those segments, news, and more coming right up on Volusia Magazine. Ken Lawson is the Secretary of Florida's Department of Business and Professional Regulation, and he recently spoke at the Daytona Regional Chamber event on the topic of business fraud. The Department of Business and Professional Regulation is the agency charged with licensing and regulating businesses and professionals such as contractors, veterinarians, and real estate agents. Unlicensed activity occurs when an individual offers to perform or does perform services that require a state license, but the individual does not hold the required license. Florida law sets specific rules and guidelines for obtaining professional licensure, and the people who have met those requirements are held to professional standards. Lawton warns that unlicensed activity can threaten the livelihood of law-abiding, state-licensed professionals and can pose serious personal or financial harm to consumers.
We get many complaints over a year, but what's great about my department, we look at each complaint, determine whether or not there's merit. If there's merit, we investigate those complaints, and then we may have to sanction an individual for violating the state rules regarding their license. But our most important goal is ensuring that people are in compliance with the law. Because, you know, the law can be confusing. I mean, you got a bunch of laws in the books and you're trying to follow the rules, and sometimes you make a mistake. It's my goal as secretary that we make sure that people understand what the rules are, follow them, so they provide good service to the people of Florida. But if we got somebody who's going to truly violate the law, ignore those laws, we'll come down hard and heavy if we have to.
Lawson said the most effective way to stop unlicensed activity is to hire only licensed Florida professionals.
You know, the first thing you do, like for instance, a building contractor, you know, you can look at that person's license and also a record on my website. You go to www.myfloridalicense.com. Type in that professional's name or business license number, and you pull up their last inspection, make sure they are licensed. If you don't find anything on them regarding their license, that may be a warning that you need to stay away. Because we got a lot of professionals who go through the education and also the professional standards that are necessary to practice in that area. And we want to make sure that they get the business they deserve. But then you got people perhaps may prey on others who aren't licensed, may not tell the truth about it, and they harm our citizens.
Again, that website is myfloridalicense.com. It's another climb for passenger traffic at Daytona Beach International Airport. Passenger traffic increased 7% for the month of July compared with July of last year. During the month, more than 51,000 passengers flew in or out of the county-operated airport. This compares with just over 48,000 passengers in July of 2011. For the 12 months ending July 31st, passenger traffic increased 7% from 532,200 passengers last year to 571,382 passengers this year. Steve Cook, Director of Business Development for the airport, said the airport's steady gains in passenger traffic is a strong selling point as the airport seeks to recruit additional air service.
You know, we've had, actually out of the last 33 months, we've had 30 months of increase so far. So airport's been doing really well. We think that's going to continue for the balance of the year. And we're looking forward to next year. We're working with airlines and hopefully we'll see some further increases as well.
Frank Barnes, a frequent flyer who lives in Jacksonville, says he likes DBIA for its customer service and convenience.
I am flying out of Daytona Beach International Airport because it is the quickest and most convenient way to get anywhere from the top right-hand corner of Florida to anywhere in the world. I can usually get a flight from here to wherever I need to connecting flight, and I'm off and going, and it's quick and easy in, and parking is good because I can park right out actually in front of the airport, which is unheard of for any airport that I've ever been to in the whole world.
For more information about Daytona Beach International Airport, you can visit the website flydaytonafirst.com. And if you'd like to stay connected on what's happening, like the airport's Facebook page at Facebook/FlyDaytonaFirst. Votran bus driver Janet Kistner has been awarded the National Safety Council's 2 Million Mile Safe Driver Award. How many years does it take a Votran bus operator to drive 1 million miles? Just ask one of Votran's 30 drivers who have done just that. It takes a Votran fixed route driver about 12 years to drive 1 million miles.
So to achieve 2 million miles, our bus operator that's been nominated for the Florida Public Transportation Association's Bus Operator of the Year has achieved 2 million miles, and that took 24 years. For an operator to have 2 million miles, 2 million miles plus without an accident, without a preventable accident, is an amazing achievement. And at Votran, safety is our first priority. As the records of the safety records of our bus operators show, we take safety very seriously.
Janet Kistner is the first woman to achieve this status with Votran. She joined Votran in 1987. With 25 years of service, this means that she has been a safe driver since the beginning of her career. Janet says safety is Votran's highest priority, and the safe driving records of our operators is a testimony to that.
It's an honor to receive the 2 million miles, and it was nothing but teamwork with everybody. We work together to help each other out, and safety is our #1 thing.
She has received commendations from her passengers on both her safe driving and customer relations skills. Votran has 8 operators with over 2 million miles of safe driving.
This is sea turtle nesting season. Sea turtles typically use the beach at night, so never shine lights on sea turtles' nests, hatchlings, or adult turtles. Ensure lights are not visible from the beach. While enjoying your night walk, use a red LED bulb or a red filtered light. Bright artificial lights can deter turtles from nesting or lead them away from the water. The beach belongs to everyone, including our sea turtles. Thank you for making it a safer place for everyone to enjoy.
The recent Arts and Economic Prosperity Force study concludes that the nonprofit arts and culture activities in our area are a multi-million-dollar industry in Volusia County, one that supports jobs and generates more than $3 million in local revenue. A major player in the arts community is the 100,000 square foot Smithsonian Affiliated Museum of Arts and Sciences in Daytona Beach. Michelle Coates with the Business Beat visited the Museum of Arts and Sciences to discuss the exciting future of that museum.
I'm Michelle Coates with the Business Beat. We're here at the Museum of Arts and Sciences where they're set for a multi-million-dollar renovation. The museum is home to the most complete set of giant sloth bones in North America, as well as an extensive collection of Cuban art. Accredited by the American Association of Museums and a designated Smithsonian affiliate, the museum has more than 100,000 square feet of world-class visual arts, Florida history, natural science including the giant ground sloth, an environmental center, the Cuban Museum, the Root Americana Collection, a planetarium, and the Williams Children's Museum. 2 major announcements from the museum have created some excitement for the area and is sure to launch the arts community to a new level. We spoke to Andrew Sandel, director of the Museum of Arts and Sciences.
We're given money from FEMA that will allow us to do a renovation of the wing that was damaged during the floods.
The museum will receive $4.379 million in Federal Emergency Management Administration funding, along with a $1.6 million grant from the county to rebuild its west wing following flood damage from the record-breaking rainfall in 2009.
We have a wonderful donation from local philanthropists that will allow us to build a whole new museum on the site that will go out on the other side of the town, and that's working with Volusia County and with the city of Daytona.
Ormond Beach residents Hyatt and C.C. Brown donated 2,500 of their Florida-themed oil paintings to the museum and gave $13 million for construction of a new building near Nova Road and Orange Avenue.
That'll house the C.C. and Hyatt Brown art collection of Florida art, which has been shown here a couple of times, small segments of that. We've had about 100 paintings from that been in the museum before. This will give us 2,500 of their paintings that are all of Florida. And that'll be a wonderful museum when that opens. That'll add significantly to what we offer here, give us a second building and make the site so much bigger.
Museum officials have slowly renovated damaged parts, but have been unable to open its Center for Florida History exhibit. Museum officials had sought federal funding since the West Wing was damaged. However, the project was deemed ineligible because FEMA funds could only be used to repair structures, not rebuild them. Cultural resources impact areas in measurable economic terms. A recent study determined that our local arts community has a multi-million-dollar economic impact. The Arts and Economic Prosperity 4 study collected data from 33 of the 55 local nonprofit arts and cultural organizations. The museum's recently announced renovation and expansion projects should go a long way in supporting that study's findings.
We bring people in from all over the state and all over the southeast to come and see the work we have, but a lot of our programming, things like our Summer Learning Institute that's on at the moment, is all locals using that.
Cultural resources enhance learning and draw tourists to an area. The recent art study indicated more than half of locals would travel outside the area for such an event, and more than 65% of non-local attendees reported the same. Arts tourists tend to stay longer and spend more than the average visitor. The Brown Museum of Florida Art, at a new location right on Nova Road, will act as a bright beacon for thousands of guests drawn to this unique cultural and heritage destination as they visit the greater Daytona Beach area. In many ways, the Brown Museum of Florida Art has the potential of putting Volusia County in the forefront of travel plans of cultural tourists from throughout the world. In the meantime, the existing 100,000 square foot building is tucked away behind the trees south of Tuscaloosa Park and west of Nova Road. It's well worth a visit. The arts not only enrich our lives, they create jobs and create economic impact. And we have a lot to offer in Volusia County, so get out there and check out the arts and cultural organizations across Volusia County. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Michelle Coates with the Business Beat.
It's true that some vaccine-preventable diseases have become very rare thanks to vaccines. However, outbreaks still happen. Volusia County Health Department Public Information Officer Stephanie Strong takes a look at vax-to-school shots in this segment of Community Health Matters.
Making sure that children of all ages receive all their vaccinations on time is one of the many important things parents can do to ensure their children's long-term health, as well as the health of friends, classmates, and others in the community.
First of all, it's required by law in order to enter school, but mostly it's to protect the children from these preventable illnesses. It also protects the community from the preventable illnesses. If enough children and adults are immunized in the community and someone comes into our community with a childhood illness, it's not likely to spread as quickly and as far if most of us are immunized against these childhood illnesses.
Vaccine-preventable diseases like pertussis can spread very quickly. Outbreaks of pertussis at middle and high schools can occur as protection from childhood vaccines fades. Another disease that can spread very easily in a school environment is measles. Measles comes into the United States from countries where the disease still circulates, including many European countries. Measles can be serious, causing hospitalization and even death.
Over the years, the most common causes of death were infectious diseases, but now it's not the most common cause of death. The most common causes of death are the chronic illnesses. So immunizations over the decades have protected many of our children and adults from disability and death from preventable childhood illnesses.
Young children are at highest risk for serious complications from measles. Making sure children stay up to date with vaccinations is the best way to make sure our communities and schools do not face outbreaks with unnecessary illnesses and deaths. For more information, please visit www.volusiahealth.com. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Stephanie Strong, Public Information Officer for the Volusia County Health Department.
If you have any questions about this or any other health-related issues, you can always log on to volusiahealth.com.
While preparing your family's severe weather kit and disaster plan, don't forget about those with special needs. Besides the normal supplies, you may also need baby formula and diapers, eyeglasses, hearing aid batteries, and equipment for the physically challenged, diabetic supplies and prescriptions. And don't forget about your pet's needs. Now is the time to prepare. Learn more at floridadisaster.org. This message was brought to you by the Florida Division of Emergency Management, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this television station.
And now it's time to head into the studio to join Community Information Director Dave Byron with his guest, Beach Patrol Captain Tammy Marris, to be talking about safety on the beach, especially for the upcoming holiday.
Well, thanks, Amber, and hi, everyone. The busy Labor Day holiday weekend is next weekend, and that means thousands of people will flock to the beach for the end of the summer fun in the sun. Volusia County's Beach Patrol will be out in full force, staffing the lifeguard towers and doing everything they can to keep beachgoers safe. If you're going to the beach, there are some common sense things you should do to keep you and your loved ones safe. Beach safety is our subject today, and our guest in the studio is Beach Patrol Captain Tammy Marris. Tammy, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for letting me.
End of the summer, sort of.
Yeah.
Last big weekend, last big holiday weekend.
Yep.
And you know, for us people that live in Florida, there's still plenty of beach season left.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of beach season left, but this is our last big weekend, and
right.
We're looking forward to it.
Typically, what type of crowd do you get over the Labor Day weekend if the weather's good?
Weather's good, we get crowds where the beach is usually at capacity in most areas. So.
What type of staffing will the Beach Patrol have as the Labor Day weekend?
We'll be fully staffed, and we'll have as many tower guards out there as we can get.
I know typically this time of year, a lot of your summer guards kind of you know, go back to school and that sort of thing, but you're still going to have plenty of staff for this big 3-day weekend.
Absolutely.
Tammy, one of the things that we always tell people, again, to try to spread a good safety message here, is there's probably no better advice than you can give anyone that goes to the beach, and that is to always swim in front of a lifeguard.
Absolutely. One of the most simple and important things is when you go to the beach, make sure you're swimming in front of an open lifeguard tower.
Of course, we're starting to get into the active hurricane season now, and oftentimes when these storms pass by, it can create rip current conditions or conditions in which that surf can be a little bit aggressive, and again, very important for people maybe to talk to the lifeguards, ask if there are any rip currents in the area.
Absolutely. This time of year, especially usually Labor Day weekend or around that time, we do have some kind of tropical system passing through or just passing through, so it could be very dangerous out there, potentially the water. So the best thing to do is always, when you come down to the beach, you know, look at the beach condition flags for the day. We have flags, and make sure that you talk to the lifeguard and absolutely swim in front of an open lifeguard tower, and you can talk to them and they'll let you know what areas are good and what aren't.
And a lot of those lifeguards, of course, are very familiar with their zone, if you will, and they're very familiar with the dynamics, and they can spot rip currents where maybe a lay person that doesn't do it every day cannot.
Absolutely. That's what they're trained to do, and they sit out there every day for about 8 hours a day, and they know exactly what they're looking for. And a lot of times they can spot somebody in a rip current before the person even realizes that they're in one.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Tammy, because you know, again, for people that may be visiting the area, they're not familiar with the dynamics of rip currents on our beaches and that sort of thing. For those folks that don't know what a rip current is, kind of give us kind of a layperson's description.
Well, it's a current that pulls you into deeper water. It won't pull you under, it just pulls you into deeper water. So the most important thing is do not panic.
Right.
Okay, and if you're caught in a rip current, do not panic. You can float, you can yell for help, and you can swim parallel to shore out of the rip current. Don't try to swim back to shore through the rip current. current, because it's just keep pulling you into deeper water, and you get tired, and that's when drownings occur, when people get exhausted and panic.
Right. Yeah, I've learned from talking to people like yourself that if you should be unfortunate enough to get caught in a ripper, it's going to take you this way, and you should swim either north or south, I guess, if you can.
Yes, absolutely, and don't panic. It's not going to pull you under. It's just going to pull you into deeper water, and eventually it'll stop and you swim parallel to shore or yell for help. But if you're in front of a lifeguard, they'll probably be there before they'll be there before you know it.
And I guess there should be no hesitation whatsoever on the part of anyone that may think they're getting in trouble, or perhaps if you're in the water and you see someone that you think may be in trouble, always signal for that lifeguard no matter what, because you'd rather be safe than sorry, I suppose.
Absolutely.
Tammy, one of the other things that we always talk about, particularly during these busy weekend periods, is the fact that you know, on parts of Volusia County beaches, we do allow the vehicles to drive and park on the beach. And of course, you know, that pedestrian safety, particularly if you have little kids, is so important. What sort of advice do we give people, particularly if they have little kids?
Well, if you have small children, you can opt for many of our areas of beach that are non-driving, and to take small children to. Also, if you have a small child, one of the best things to do is set up your stuff on the water side of the traffic lanes, so that way the child doesn't have the urge to run back and forth across the traffic lanes to the vehicle to get food or toys. And also, if you do have a small child, please hold their hand when you're crossing the traffic lane. Yeah,
and I know that you know, you've had that experience where, you know, the little kids, the 3-year-olds, the 4-year-olds, or whatever, they can slip out of the grip so quickly. You really got to hold those hands tightly.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of times people will be trying to unload their vehicles or load their vehicles, and they just turn their back for 1 second, and that's when the child darts across the traffic lane.
They get excited.
Yes.
Tammy, of course, one of the other things that we always ask people to do is be very careful, particularly if they're pulling in, backing out of a space on the beach. Oftentimes there will be people that may be lying beside or near a vehicle that's pulling in or pulling out, and people can't see them.
Absolutely. One of our county ordinances, actually, a lot of people are unaware of, is that you cannot lay in between vehicles. You can't set up your belongings in between the vehicles. It's for parking only. It's just, it creates a danger, safety hazard.
Right. And we want to remind everyone that the speed zone, speed limit on Volusia County beaches, was it 5 miles an hour?
It's 10 miles an hour. It's 10 miles an hour, and it's strictly enforced.
Very strictly enforced. And I know this year there's been a couple of changes in terms of safety precautions on the beach. One is, I believe, you're supposed to have your driver's side window down and your lights on.
Absolutely. When you come to the beach, make sure you put that window down, and just that's so you're more aware of what's going on around you, and the headlights on.
Right. It's also, I think, goes without saying that drinking on the beach, particularly drinking and driving on the beach, is not allowed, and certainly not a good thing to do. That's a big problem.
Alcohol is prohibited on the beach. It is illegal.
And Tammy, one of the other things that we always kind of remind people of, particularly if they're visiting Volusia County, and maybe from the parts up in the northwest, northeast, whatever, that don't have the kind of the familiarity with the sun, you can get a sunburn down here pretty quickly.
Oh yes, and even if it's cloudy out, you can. The best thing to do is, especially out in the sun and the water, when you sweat, reapply your sunblock every 15 minutes.
Yeah, and of course, one of the other things of it is, Tammy, is you've seen in many of the rescues that you and your group have to undertake is oftentimes people have been drinking alcohol.
Yes, it's one of the most dangerous things you can do is drink and then try to go in the water and swim.
Again, we want to stress is alcohol is not allowed on the beach, and not only that, but you get very dehydrated.
Yes, if you're out in the sun all day drinking, it's not a good combination.
Tammy, one of the new things that the County Council has done just recently, and it's sort of a surprising problem for some people that are not familiar with the beach, and that is a lot of people, particularly if they're going to the beach on multiple days, have had a tendency, they may be staying in a condo or whatever, and they have a tendency maybe to kind of stake out their place on the beach. They may leave a tent, or they may leave a grill or some other items on the beach. And that has become a pretty pretty big problem on the beach.
Yes, it has. It's been a problem for a while now, and we actually passed an ordinance where you cannot leave your recreational equipment overnight. And there will be a phase where we'll be warning people, but after that, probably after about 30 days, we will start picking those belongings up after about 9 o'clock at night, and they will be disposed of.
And so what's the problem, Tammy? I mean, people don't seem to get the problem here. Why is that a problem?
Well, people leave, you know, their portable recreational equipment on the beach overnight, and it could be a safety hazard.
Right.
And especially if there's a lot of it out there.
And one of the other things that, it's kind of a courteous thing, but one of the other things that we ask people to do, obviously, is to don't leave any litter on the beach. But if they've made a sand castle, perhaps dug a big hole on the beach, that's another thing that people can do just to be good beach stewards, and that is to fill that hole in.
Yeah, that could be a hazard too at night. If you're walking at night, you don't see that hole. You could fall or trip into it, and also it's an environmental issue too for the sea turtles.
Well, Tammy, I want to thank you for sharing the information with us. Obviously, it's going to be a very busy weekend, particularly if the weather's good. And I guess if everyone just follows the rules and maybe takes a deep breath, have a little patience here, we'll all have a great time and a safe weekend.
That's our goal, is to have everyone go home safely.
Our guest today is Volusia County Beach Patrol Captain Tammy Marris. And again, if you're going to the beach, please be careful and let's have a great time. And with that, Amber, we'll go back to you.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you for watching Volusia Magazine. If you have any questions about our program, just give us a call at any of the numbers you see listed here, or you can log on to volusia.org. You can also watch the show online. Just go to volusia.org and click on the Volusia Magazine icon. And we hope you won't forget to listen to Volusia Today, Volusia County Government's public information radio broadcast. Volusia Today airs every Tuesday and Sunday mornings on the local radio stations you see on your screen. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Amber Patterson. Have a great evening.